Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, the AEW Walkout situation keeps getting more and more complicated.
And we'll bring you the Nixon Newell side of the AEW Walkout. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Humperdinck.
Indeed, and this is the news.
Shoutouts to Engelbert. Anyway, let's kick this one off by talking a little bit more about Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize walking out of AEW Collision at the weekend. I covered it a little bit yesterday, but there's a bunch of new detail. We knew there's always more to things like this, right?
And there was a lot of rumours doing the rounds.
There were. So you know, it's never like this cut and dry thing with situations like this. There's always more. And that's why it's a good idea to wait and cover it over multiple days, which is exactly what we're doing. So we got another report here from Fightful. Talking about the situation. They were on the ball with the reporting prior to this as well. They kind of summarized this. For those of you who somehow missed this, right? The controversy was that Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize were due to wrestle Ty Conti and Ty J.
Yeah.
On Collision this week. It was going to be a 3-minute match. PW Insider reported that they refused to job. Fightful said, nope, they didn't refuse to job. They just didn't want to do a 3-minute match. And they requested more time, but they were told we can't do that. They then left the taping with an hour before bell time, and they were replaced by Maya World and Hyan, independent wrestlers. Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize are independent wrestlers as well.
Yes.
But hey, there we go. That's the cliff notes of where we are. We've got some new details here. Fightful noting that internally there was an immediate response in AEW. An AEW staffer apparently said that both Newell and Alize, they're talented, but there was an internal push to help Nixon out because she had previously, publicly as well, said, hey, I'm not getting many bookings since I left WWE. And stuff like that. Another person said they were disappointed to hear about the situation and commented that for Nixon it was out of character in particular. So as far as like Maya World and Hyan, the replacements who came in and did this on short notice, fair play to them, by the way. Tremendous professionals. Good stuff. They got a bunch of praise for doing this and coming in, which is you'll love to hear.
Yeah.
They got an opportunity out of this, so you know it's a positive to come from this situation. They're both excellent, so it's good. It's good for them. Happy for them. But yeah, they were totally over the moon with the opportunity as well, according to Fightful, because they got used and they got to be on TV and stuff like that. So AEW sources claimed that if Nixon and Miranda did say they would have, things would have been better if other talent were used instead, which I guess adds up. Now, there's some other stuff here as well, and this is where it gets a bit murky, and Nixon has directly dismissed this. But yeah, Fightful says there some talent had reached out to them to claim there were further issues with Newell in AEW. Apparently some beef with Megan Bayne, potentially. So prior to this match, they had another match against Megan Bayne and I want to say Penelope Ford, but no, Marina Shafir.
Shafir, yeah.
On Collision, right? Newell apparently wasn't happy with how that match was constructed. This was the word that was going around the locker room, right? Apparently one of the contentious points was that Megan Bayne selling for them, basically selling for an enhancement team, which when they're trying to establish this new dominant team of Bayne and Shafir, I mean, there's logic to it, right?
Yeah.
I personally, I think Megan Bayne should only really sell in like 1 out of 5 matches. She's a beast.
I think Bayne Shafir should make the final of that tournament, by the way.
I think she should beat everybody. Give her the belt.
Yeah.
She beats everybody. But yeah, so there you go. That's something that came up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. One of Nixon's friends commented, a longtime friend, it's noted here, commented that Nixon was probably just excited about debuting and then disappointed that things were going to end so quickly. Another said that maybe Nixon wanted to get the match over with because of how things were going when it came to the setup. There's more. Another source indicated that if Megan Bayne looked frustrated during that match, it was legitimate because she was not too happy with a lack of cooperation on some of the spots. If you go back and watch it, there is one like super kick spot that's a little janky, it's a little messy. Fightful asked Nixon Newell directly, by the way, about this Megan Bayne stuff and the disagreement. Nixon said this: "No, we had no disagreement. Miranda and I are really the only ones that have the details about how yesterday went." So I said yesterday, let's wait until we hear from them before before we get too emotional with this, too invested in this. And here they are.
Yeah, speaking of hearing from them, Nixon went on Twitch to sort of discuss all of this and give her side of the story, basically. And she explained what happened. She said, we turned up on Saturday, and they said, hey, you guys are wrestling TJ, cool. We came up with a bunch of ideas, we were ready. And then they walk back and come back and say, by the way, it's 3 minutes. No one's going to be happy with 3 minutes. But we weren't there going, what the F? Like, 3 minutes, what the F? It was never that situation. So we just asked, hey, 3 minutes? Yeah, okay. After the promo we cut, we were told to make ourselves to be a credible tag team, all this stuff. That's what we did. We decided collectively as a partnership, a tag, as wrestling independently, that 3 minutes is going to benefit no one in the match. We were polite, we were respectful, we called our producer over and we said, hey, I don't think 3 minutes is going to benefit either of us, not just us, but everyone in the tag team. We want what's best for everyone. So respectfully, we prefer this to go to someone that can benefit. Producer said, okay, no worries. They said, hey, this isn't a big FU. They explained it to TJ. And then they said, subsequent to this, they were told by management, they text us, they said, all good, no problem, you guys are free to go if you like, because it's a small venue, basically. Subsequent to this, before we get on to our thoughts on this whole situation, something that we could all collectively agree on is wrestlers should never receive death threats, certainly not for just walking out on a match on Collision because they thought it was too short. She detailed more on that Twitch stream, as I mentioned, saying, I had multiple today, I got 3 today, and it's always with the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community. It is what it is. She joked sarcastically, it was lovely to receive these death threats. I can't believe we have to say this. Don't send wrestlers death threats.
Yeah, that's absurd. That's just unhinged behaviour. What for, right? Oh, she didn't want to wrestle a match. All right.
Yeah.
Like, gee whiz, like what she's describing there is unhinged behaviour by people who've reacted way too over the top and emotionally.
Doesn't affect you.
Yeah, exactly. That's my stand. My stance on this stuff is always I don't work there, so I ultimately, I'm not upset if someone doesn't want to work a match and wants to leave the show. Look, the version that Nixon has described is there's nothing wrong with, like, so obviously it's one word against another with situations like this, so you should take everything and just make up your own mind or whatever, but there's nothing wrong with the version she's just described. Like, if this is accurate, right, it sounds like AEW said, yeah, cool, you can go.
Yeah.
So what's the beef? However, if the other version is true and it was not as amicable as that, which Nixon has denied outright, then yeah, it's a little bit more complicated. Look, ultimately, what's come of this, right? Let's look at the outcomes of this. Maya World and Hyan got an opportunity to wrestle in AEW.
That's
good.
Cool.
I like both of them. Hyan actually had one of my favorite matches of the year against
Really?
Danny Luna in DPW, rest in peace. They've wrestled several times, but the dog collar match was tremendous. Everyone should watch that match. It's great. They got a good opportunity to be on TV. They'll probably get more because they're both really good. That's good. Ty J won, all that stuff. Fluff up for the tournament.
Yeah, they're always going to. Yeah, they're in the tournament.
All that stuff. And it doesn't sound like Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize are bothered by look, obviously they're bothered about being told death threats, but it doesn't sound like they're too bothered about further AEW opportunities to me, which is absolutely fine. And not everyone has the same goals. Nixon said on the same stream as well that she's retiring in like a year, 2 years. So clearly she doesn't see her long-term future in wrestling. It's not the kind of thing that's going to, endear you to some people perhaps in the locker room, but I feel like this got a little bit too over the top, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
I agree. I think this has all been blown out of proportion, hasn't it? This is, if Nixon is to be believed, I think it's kind of fair enough to say, wait a second, we're this newly established tag team. We want to develop ourselves. We've been told to make ourselves a big deal on AEW, and fair enough. Having them lose to Bane and Shafir and then TJ makes sense. Those two teams, I think, are facing each other in the first round of that AEW Women's Tag Title Tournament. So, it'd be weird to have one team win and one team lose, because they'd be going in going, well, that team sucks. They're never winning this tournament.
They just lost to enhancement people,
So, to a certain extent, I think it's great to obviously back yourselves and say, no, we'll do the job, but we want a bit more out of all this. It's a hell of a position to take when you're not signed by the. It's a hell of a position to take anyway, but especially when you're not signed by the company.
That's why it's totally different to Naomi and Sasha the other year.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
By the way, newsflash, X is bad. What an awful weekend for wrestling on social media. It was an absolute cesspool on there. And I saw some of those takes being like, oh, so you back Sasha and Naomi, but you don't back these two? First of all, I didn't say anything. Second, I was being grumpy about Chesterfield drawing at the weekend, mostly. But second of all, these two situations aren't comparable. But I will say, for Nixon Newell, she's been messed about by one company. Like, WWE used her horrendously, didn't they? So I can understand a certain mindset of hers being like, no, this is my one of my only few chances of really establishing myself again.
Yeah.
So I want to not necessarily get the win, but have the time for people to be like, they lost, but ran them pretty close.
Yeah, well, this is the kind of thing where, like, I've seen a lot of people go, oh, well, they'll never get another shot in AEW. Maybe they don't want one. Maybe they don't care, right? Like, maybe they'd rather have control of their own freelance. But, that's why it's so complicated, because Nixon was talking earlier in the year about wanting to get more bookings and not really getting many since leaving WWE. It's a really complex thing, this. I think that ultimately, right, and I don't know if this is something that's ever done in advance, so if you're a wrestler, let us know. But, this could have all been avoided if it was communicated in advance it's going to be a short, 3-minute match.
Yeah, we want to book you, but for a bit of a squash, basically, to establish him for the tag.
Yeah,
exactly.
Saturday, squash, 3 minutes, you in, you out. Then they could have just said no, and the whole last-minute change would have been avoided in the first place. And presumably, they would have said no to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way Nixon describes it does sound pretty bad. Hey, thanks for coming, guys. Obviously, we wrestled TJ. Yeah, thanks for coming. By the way, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah. It's like they phoned up and they were like, imagine someone just lies. Yeah, 20 minutes, 50-50.
Yeah, main event.
I think you'll go over, actually. That would be terrible. But yeah, like if it was communicated in advance, it would have been, this whole thing could have been avoided by the sounds of it. And look, from a booking standpoint, they should have lost both of those matches.
Yes.
Because they're enhancement. You come in to let Marina Shafir and Penelope Ford look good, and then let Ty J look good in the next match. And the thing is, like, the idea would be ultimately, if you do well in the enhancement matches, maybe you'll get more opportunities, more looks. I don't know.
At the end of the day, a lot of the matches on Collision are matches to set up bigger matches on Dynamite by, like, this team has just run through this other team, but make sure you tune in to Dynamite to see them fight in this big tournament or whatever.
See what's going on.
Yeah,
whole complicated situation. I think we've done a very balanced appraisal of this today, apart from the lunatics saying people should, crazy.
Just double checking I hadn't sent any death threats whilst we were doing
that.
Insane. Don't do that. I don't care which company you stand for or anything like that. First of all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. And second of all, especially like wrestlers, I'm not saying you should ever send death threats. Never do that, obviously. But like certain celebrities will just never see it because they have teams managing their social media, or they're so big they get a million messages all the time and it'll just... Wrestlers will see this and it'll affect them. So why would you do that, arsehole?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fair. Totally fair. Let us know what you think on this situation down below. All of that good stuff. I think that the takes that I am most drawn to are the balanced ones. I don't know, man. It's like we've gone a little bit too far in this internet age.
How about some good news? We'll bring you some good news later on today. About
plans for Legend as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
I love it. I love Last Legend.
Nudge, nudge. Oh,
sorry.
There you go. The clickbait's ruined now, Ad. What are we gonna do?
We'll tell you more about the US title as well.
Bye. Video on screen. Random one. Yep. See you later.